folks, my name is Janaki, and over here we have the lovely Madame Bathsheba, and together we are Catamancy Tarot. So today I am doing a deck mod. I'm rebacking a deck, which is a process I've never done before, but I was really stoked to give it a try, and spoiler alert, I think it came out really well. The deck I'm going to be modifying with you guys today is the Dragon Tarot by Nigel Suckling. I've got this copy, and this was a really fun process for me. I know with deck mods sometimes it really feels like you're making the deck your own, and that's how I felt about this one. I think it came out super well. Here is a sneak peek at how it came out. All right, let me go ahead and flip this around and we'll show you my process. Hi friends! Today I wanted to hop on to share a new deck that I got recently that it's become my current obsession and my current project, so I thought I would take you along and show you what I've been up to today. So if you watched one of my last videos all about cute little medieval decks, I realized I didn't have a cute little dragon tarot. And I'm not super into dragons, but I felt like I needed a cute little deck, and I found this one. And I have to say, it's very silly, but I absolutely, absolutely adore it. This is the Dragon Tarot by Nigel Suckling with art by Roger and Linda Garland. Love a husband and wife team. And so the edition that I got came in this box, so it's kind of the older version. It's still in print, but now it comes in a blue box, and I've heard that the cardstock on the newer one is like the super high gloss, ultra shiny one, and so I got a vintage copy. Well, it's not vintage, it's just the older copy from like 2007 probably. And it came in this box with this cute little book. 2005, all right. Has some cute little spreads, you know. And so I've been really loving it. So I've been keeping it in this little bag that I made for him. And he's really cute. But I have to say, it's, you know, it's a Marseille style deck. So you've got all of the majors, which are very, I love this Hierophant. I think he's super adorable. I love the miniature paintings. Those lovers are adorable. Yeah, and I've just been really enjoying it. But the cardstock on this edition is like super, super duper flimsy. This just feels like a really cozy deck. I've been using it kind of non-stop. The paintings are actually quite beautiful. I like the typeface. And it's just silly and cute and sweet. And you've got all of your little elemental dragon friends and the Ouroboros. Isn't he cute? They're so cute. And then the pips. So the pips are my favorite part. So you have your little elemental dragon friends. There's the fire guy. There's the cups guy. Isn't he sweet? But my favorite thing about the minors is it is a pip style deck. I've been digging pip style decks, and this is a pip style deck where when you put them together, they make a scene. Wow, isn't that so cool? They're so pretty. I honestly think this is my most beautiful pip deck, which is a huge surprise to me because I thought I was just getting a silly little dragon deck, and it's turned into like a new absolute fave. But yeah, a problem I've run into is just the cardstock is really, really thin and it bends really easily, and I don't love it. But I do like the fronts are fine. They're not high glossy. They're a better, I think they're a little bit of better quality than the old ones, but the cardstock is still really thin. And so for that reason, I've decided to reback this deck. And I've never rebacked a deck before, so that'll all be kind of a new process for me. And so I thought I would take you along and show you how I'm going to go about doing this. I love him. He's so cute. I love all of the dragon people and their little face masks. They remind me of the Elderlings. If you ever read Robin Hobb's Realm of the Elderlings, like that's the total vibe I get here. And that's probably my favorite epic fantasy series. So if you're looking for a 16-book series, boy howdy, should you get started on those. So these are the backs. Kind of scaly, but also very cheesy. I feel like it's so much cheesier than the fronts, which admittedly are a bit cheesy, but they're still, I don't know, they're kind of lush. And then the backs just kind of like bring it down a notch for me. And so we're gonna cover them up. So ideally, my ideal backs, if you notice on the side of the box, they have this dragon scaling stuff. And so if that was the backs, that would be perfect. That's kind of, that would be ideal. But alas, they don't incidentally sell this exact contact paper, so we're gonna do a DIY project. So now, for the big reveal, we're going to take these to the, oh no, dear, to the cutting mat. That's right. We're not going to trim them because I think that they are, I like the borders. They're really large, admittedly, but I like the borders, so we're going to keep the borders and we're just going to change the backs. And so when I went out and I purchased this contact paper, and I think it's like the right color. I couldn't find blue scales or green scales, but this has like it's slightly textured, and I think it'll work well for the deck. I think it'll look nice. So the first step, I've already gone ahead and cut out some long waist strips that we'll use. And so, yeah, I'm gonna maybe alter the camera a little bit so I can actually get in here, and I'll show you the steps that I'm gonna be taking. All right, so that's a little bit of a better angle for me. Hopefully that's a good angle for you guys as well. So the first step is I'm just making these, I'm pre-cutting a lot of the strips. I learned all of this from watching Don Michelle's videos, the Mod Queen, and this is my first time rebacking. So what I figured out is I can fit 3 cards vertically here, and so that means I just need to cut out strips, and then I can cut them down even further. So I've just got 6 more strips to cut out. So what I'll go ahead and do is I'll mark, and I'm just giving myself like a 1/4 inch on either side. I'm not giving myself a ton of room if I screw up, but you know, that's okay. So I'm just marking them so we can do a bunch at once. That looks good. All right. And I found it's very roly-poly, so you gotta wrangle it a little bit. And it is a little bit like cutting wrapping paper, I found. So you can make a little cut, and then once you get really going there, you can just cut off a whole little strip. Very satisfying. I'll put the rest on fast motion for you guys. Okie dokie. Now we've gone ahead and cut out 26 strips, knocking things over here, which with my math should mean that all total we have enough little strips to back all of our cards. And I know some people will peel it and then lay down 3 cards at once, but that feels a little bit stressful for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-cut all of these strips, and I'm going to see if I can't make myself a little guide on this paper cutter so we can do this mass production style, so we can save ourselves a little bit of time. So as we see here, we've just got enough to give ourselves a little bit of space here. This is maybe we need a ruler just to make sure these things are lying flat. Because the paper does not want to be flat. And it is a little bit of a close call, but that's all right. You don't mind. You don't mind a little bit of a challenge. Okay, I've done my calculations, and it looks like my strips need to be 5 1/4 inches long. So what I'm doing now is, so I've got my little cutter with its measurements, and we're going to line up this guide to be exactly 5 1/4 inches. That's the goal. And that way we'll have a steady little guide. Pick this hot tip up from Dawn Michelle at Boho Tarot. She seems to know what she's doing, so this way I can just pre-cut a bunch of these and save myself some time. So we'll cut this first strip and check and make sure our measurements are on track. So we line that up. And this is I wouldn't recommend this type of cutter, but it was what was in my budget at the time. But it's a little persnickety. And things aren't quite lining up because nothing is straight, but that's okay. We're just doing good enough here. So it looks like all of these are cut exactly in thirds, which is what we want. And if we take one, let's see, it looks like we have just enough there. Not a lot of room for error, but that's okay. So now I am going to go ahead and cut a bunch of these strips. So I'll go ahead and put you guys on fast forward here so you can zoom through all this labor. Alright, so now I've got myself a stack of these, and we're ready to get started, but I figured I'd start with the title card. This is just an extra card in the deck, and I figured I'd do this one first so I could practice, and if I absolutely hate it, I could bail, but I'm probably not going to bail. But, so we've got our backs here. We'll take a piece of paper. Ooh, I'm nervous. Are you nervous? I'm nervous. And then I've got this guy, which is a tool from pottery, and I figured it might be useful for us to like get the bubbles out. But I'm not sure what the best way to go about doing this is, other than just doing it. I also don't know how sticky this is, so it might turn out that it's not very sticky, in which case I might have to use some real glue. So let's see here. Oh, it's quite sticky. Okay, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to plunk it down like this and do it sideways like that. And just ease it on down like that. And then we turn it over and give it a good old smooth down. Ooh. And then of course we've stuck it to our mats. And he's unstuck. All right. All right. So the next step, presumably, would be to cut it out. So let me give that a go with my scissors here. I haven't decided if I'm going to do this whole project with scissors or an X-Acto knife. I think I might, since the cardstock's quite thin, there isn't a lot to guide the X-Acto knife. And I'm finding that the scissors glide quite well, and I can get like quite right up on that edge of the card there, which is what I want. So I think I might just go ahead and do that part with scissors. So now we've got our sticky pile. I'll make a sticky pile, designated sticky pile. And then I go ahead and I have my corner rounder, and it uses the largest edge. I didn't quite get all the way to the edge here. I can still feel a little bit of sticky. And a little bit of sticky here. Oh, I think I got him. Yeah, see those little hairy guys? Just a little bit. Alright. I was warned this was a sticky mess project. So it uses the largest size on my corner rounder, and I'm aware that it might get my corner rounder a little bit sticky. However, I never use the largest size, so I think I'll be okay. Oh, and that does a nice job. Oh, this is exciting. I see with modding jobs, I get impatient and I want to see what a card looks like. So once I get a little ways, I want to see the full project. So that's what the back is looking like. It's like a little bit textured, but I kind of really like it. So that's what it looks like. I can feel a little bit of stick on the sides. I wonder if I'll get better at cutting that right up onto the edge, and if I might end up edging these as well, but I haven't decided on the color. Maybe a lime green. this kind of limey green. I think that might be fun. I don't know, but that's looking good. That's looking pretty good. I kind of like it. I kind of really like it, actually. Oh, this is exciting. I'm stoked. Okay, cool. Let me do a few more of these for you on camera. Yeah, and it feels thicker. It feels a little less bendy. I was already noticing some of these backs getting a little bit scratched and bent up. I don't know. You can see how I got them secondhand. I actually bought them on eBay, on a used copy, and all of the proceeds went to fund an animal shelter. So I was super stoked about finding it that way. If only that was like, if you know, I wouldn't feel bad about buying so many tarot decks if all of the money went to charity all of the time. But alas, I don't think I can do that. So like, see how this one, maybe you can't see it, but there's a little bit of a bend right there. So the goal with rebacking is mostly to just like help reinforce these guys. And it's already, it's a super thin deck. Like that's very narrow for a usual deck of cards. Most of them are a little bit thicker, so I'm happy if this bulks up the deck a little bit. I think it'll really help. Yeah, so let's keep going. Let's do another one. How you guys been doing out there? It's been a little bit of a rough end of the month for me. End of January. We're in the first weekend of February of the year of our Lord 2023, in case you're watching this from another time and place. And it's been brutally cold outside. It's been like, yesterday the high was like 12 degrees Celsius, which is really awfully cold. So again, I'm going to try and go in sideways on these because I've given myself more wiggle room on the sides than I have the top on the bottom. So I really want to make sure I'm staying in the lines that way. So once I set it down, I'll turn it around and I'll do some of this stuff. Make sure there's no bubbles. No bubbles. And then we peel them up. Peel them up. And here's our King of Pentacles, and we give him a little trim. So I'm going to try and get real close to this edge this time. Not get the card, but you can just kind of get it right up against the edge and glide it. That's what I'm finding works well here. I'm learning as I go along. Just slide that right up against him. There we have it. And it might be faster to just, you know, do this as a, you know, stick them all first and then cut and then punch. But I get a little bit, if it's too assembly liney, I get a little bit of a, I'm going to try and do that on the other side. So it's sticky is going down. I don't know if that'll give me a better cut or not. It doesn't seem to have. It seems to have just made it angry. Or something sticky got in there. We can just trim that part off. There we go. But yeah, I get impatient about doing everything step by step. I want to see the final results now. So here we have our king, and it feels all right. It is, well, we've got well, I'm gonna try those corners again. seem to get really close, but not quite exact. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up. You see that tiny little bit of white space? That's the thing that I'm eyeing up right now. So that little patch right there is a little sticky, but not very sticky. So we'll see if that ends up being a problem or not. But for now, I think that's as good as we're gonna get. I wonder if my corner rounding is just a little bit wider than theirs. My corner rounder is just a little bit wider, so I might end up having to go over these with the scissors if I really want that perfect. Maybe I do and maybe I don't. I think that's probably fine for now, and we'll see how it goes. But it does give it a nice texture on the back. Cool. Let's do a few more. Let's do a few more. And see if we run into that same problem. Again, that pesky little corner. Let's just find him. There he is. There we go, we've stuck it. Oh, I didn't stick it well. I stuck it. Ooh, look at that. I messed that up. Now we see what happens when we... Can we unstick it? Is the question. And it looks like we can unstick it. I'm going real slowly here. I think that's what I get for cutting it a little bit too close. But, you know, everyone's modding vids that I've seen, they mod so well. But I guess you get to see the what's happening with mistakes. So I don't think I'm going to reuse this piece of contact paper. Because I'm afraid it's lost some of its stickiness, even though it would probably be fine. But I'm going to call this one as dead. I'm going to try that again. And this time I'm going to be better. And that's why I made sure that there was extra on the roll, so I do have room for some mistakes. So let's try that again. It's a real hot mess. So we're going to try that again. It looks like we've given ourselves some room on either side this time. Yes. All right. Success! All right. Now we'll do the old cutaroo. There we go. Take take away all these stickies, put it in the sticky pile. Sticky pile. And we're gonna take another stab at these corners. Ta-da! Yeah. Came out okay. I think I do have a little bit of a problem where you can see on the deck, the printing quality on the deck isn't great, so the corners, the factory corners, are a little bit, I think the setting on the corners is a little bit different than the corner rounder I have. So it's not quite exact. So some of the corners are like rounded a little. They have a corner on them. You can kind of see that there. So there's a little bit of an angle to them. And I don't think they're quite exactly aligned up with this little guy. So I do have a little bit of sticky peeking out. So we'll just have to see how that does, and yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get to work, and then I'll show you guys what the final thing ends up looking like. But this is what we've got so far, and I do like them. Bye for now. Alrighty, folks. So it's the next day, and I went ahead and I did it. And it's bulked up the deck quite a bit, with all of the cards included. It's probably as fat as my Spolia, which is probably my thickest deck. So the paper I chose has this kind of raised texture to it. It actually feels really nice. It is like vinyl, but because of that texture, there's just all of this extra bulk. But I actually really like it, and it still handles well. Like it's still quite flexible, so it hasn't made the cards too, like I can still bridge really well. Ooh, look at that. And I can even shuffle them from the side. That's how bendy they still are. I would never be able to do that with like a thicker cardstock. So it's still flexible, but it's given it extra protection. I really like how it turned out. I like the colors. When I bought it online, I thought it would be a little bit of a darker green, but it turned out to be more teal. But I still really like it. So I did end up having to cut all of the corners by hand with scissors. So that probably doubled the time it took me. I still polished this off in a single evening. And I put on my new favorite show, which is that Lockwood & Co. on Netflix. It's like a paranormal investigating teen dystopian UK show. Had some ghosts, watched some ghosts, you know, backed some cards. I had a lovely evening. And so today I started edging. So I thought it would be fun. This is kind of the title card. This is also the image on the star card. But you have this like this teal color, and then you have this bright limey green color. And that was my inspiration for the edges. And this is how they're going so far. So I've darkened the corners just a little bit in a blue and kept the edges kind of that greeny color. But I think they work well. What do you guys think? I'm just using alcohol markers, so I'm using Artist's Loft. This is the moss green, and then this one is the cool aqua. So what I've been doing is I'll start with my my green, and I'll just go over the sides. And I darken the corners even more so I can get a nice sort of gradient. And it goes from that sort of lightest green, which is in the middle, to the corners, which are this sort of, I'm trying to get a gradation going on. And because they have these really thick borders, I'm not too concerned of getting, you know, getting it onto the face of the cards, because the borders are like very camouflagey, which is nice for me. And then I take my blue, and while it's still kind of a little bit wet, I'll just sort of try and get this little bit of a gradation going on and get a little bit punchy on the corners. And then I just blend it in a little bit. Hopefully this will... The deck, it didn't end up being too sticky. None of the cards are sticking together. The contact paper didn't shrink. So I really feel lucky. So this is my process. So I'm looking forward to another evening of my total happy place, which is crafts with an audiobook or with, you know, a fun little show. And it's nice that it's a spooky show. So that's what how I get that, and then put that there. And so there, I'm gonna get to it, and I'll show you guys the final result in a bit. All right, folks, I finished up edging it last night, and this is how it came out. I think it came out kind of fun. The colors are a little swampy, a little dragon scaly, hopefully, but I think the edges go well with the fronts, with that border. I think it came out well. This is what it looks like from the side. I'm really pleased. Yeah, this was a completely new process for me. I had fun doing it, and I like the way it turned out a lot. Although I have to admit that it did come out to be quite chunky. But I kind of don't mind, because it's still really flexible. It still shuffles really well, and he's so cute. And also, it makes it feel like a big old like tomb. Somehow having a kind of thicker deck makes it feel like it's, I don't know, more, yeah, like an old school big book you're opening up. So it makes it feel like it has a little bit more weight to it. The one disadvantage of it turning out so chunky is it doesn't fit into its bag anymore. But luckily this was just a bag that I had made a while ago. Yep, doesn't fit anymore. But luckily I still have more of this fabric, because I think that fabric is a good match for this deck. So I'll have to make another bigger pouch. But I do make all of my tarot pouches, so if you're curious about how I make them, comment below, let me know, and maybe I'll do a video about how I go about making them. But otherwise, thanks for coming along with me on this mod journey. How do you think it turned out? Have you ever rebacked a deck before? Also, what are some of your favorite Pip decks? I feel like this is one of my more beautiful Pip decks, and I'm curious what your faves are. So that's all for now, folks. Thanks for joining me on this little journey. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!